So those are some epic shots from the party going on here that we call the X Games. It's day 3 of 4. You are looking down on the event deck here at LA Live, and right now we are set to kick off the BMX Park Final. Hello everyone, I'm Jimmy Coleman sitting alongside Dennis McCoy and Kevin Robinson. We have narrowed the field down to 10 riders. We've got last year's defending gold medalist, that man right there, Daniel Dares. He is in the lineup, but our top qualifier coming into this was last year's silver medalist, Dennis Enerson. We have 10 riders. It's 2 heats of 5. We run them in a 15-minute jam session, and we're taking 5 riders out of these top 10 going into our final. And there's a shot of Brett Banasiewicz. He is the youngest competitor in the field here today at just 16 years old. Last year was his first X Games. He barely missed the podium. He finished in 4th, and he is going to start us off.
Banasiewicz in for his first run. It's so amazing the progression level that has come on with some of the youngest riders.
Yeah, he's certainly pushing the envelope.
Oh, a nice big flare over the tombstone around the pool bowl.
Check out the speed.
Big double whip.
Brett's putting it together here. These guys have had an extra day to get comfortable on this course. A gap in between the prelim and now the final.
A little bit low on that flare.
But I see a big improvement over the prelims already. And catch bar 450 over the hip.
Did he spin those twice?
Yes. Brett definitely looked a lot more comfortable than he did in prelims when he had, he was battling some bike issues. Good solid run.
Yeah, the elimination, his chain kept breaking, and he only got 2 runs. The way this works, it's a 15-minute jam session. These guys have to run in order. It's a 40-second max run clock. The best run score you can possibly get is at 50. It's your 2 best scores total together. And remember, out of these 10, we're taking 5 into the final.
And meanwhile, Kyle Baldock is just ripping it up out here. Another guy that, these guys are going to get more and more comfortable in the course as time goes on. Having an extra day of practice in between with less guys to share the course with, it's going to show in the way these guys attack it.
He is our only X Games rookie in the lineup here. He's coming off a big win last weekend in Park at the Dew Tour, and he's looking pretty calm here in the final.
Throwing the front flip.
Right front.
The tough thing about that is he has barely no transition to land on when he lands, but he still pulls it.
Just catching the last little bit of transition right there.
We got us a solid start to this, guys.
This is coming out with a banger, I gotta say. These guys are ready to battle.
Well, another thing to note here is we take the 2 best scores out of each heat, and it's the better 3rd place score between the 2 heats that'll round out our 5-man final.
Nice grind there on the carport. Gary's got just the most unique lines of anybody in the bunch. High-speed manual, dropping it down.
It always impressed me so much, the speed that Gary maintains throughout the course.
After watching at home, you see the 2 clocks in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. The 1 in white, that is the jam session time. The 1 in yellow, that is the actual run time. It's run till you fall or until 40 seconds has elapsed.
And we've got 2 guys tied right now. It'll be interesting to see how this compares to Gary's run. He just attacks this thing, he flows. You can put the most simple course out there, and Gary's going to find a way to get creative on it.
Now, we haven't talked about this yet. I mean, this is not like park courses we've seen many years past with box jumps and quarter pipes and whatnot. You got to have the big tricks, but it's also about style and flow in a course like this.
Yep, and it's interesting to see guys like this, Daniel Dares, who's just a trick machine, adapt his tricks to this course.
With a trick like that, a big double tail out of the tombstone. And a course like this, too, not only do you have to adapt to this style course, but you have to do it all within a 40-second time frame. So to put all that together, that's challenging.
And it's extremely methodical for a lot of these guys. And if you slip up one thing, it's real easy to lose your pace and get lost in this course.
And that hasn't happened to Daniel in this run. I'm impressed. He's flowing this thing.
It hasn't happened to anybody in this opening round of heat number 1.
They are coming out swinging. Park 7.
Wow.
Park 7 over the transfer. That was massive.
Kind of a flat spin rotation in that 720. Remember, the best possible run score you can get is a 50, and everybody's pretty evenly matched at this point. We got 2 33s, a 35, and Daniel in there with a 36. But here comes our top qualifier out of elimination. Last year's silver medalist is Dennis Enerson.
Wow, big whip.
That was definitely an original line. I don't think I've seen that yet with the tail up into the wall.
Well, he finished 5 full points ahead of the rest of the field in qualifier elimination the other day.
Dennis's riding is ridiculous, and I don't use that word lightly. I mean, look at this. He's huge tail whip pocket air.
And he's got a wonderful name too, doesn't he?
Hey, man. I smile when I see Dennis ride because he just kills it on everything. I mean, he won Park and Dirt in Salt Lake at a Dew Tour. He can win here and he can beat Garrett tomorrow. He's that good.
Well, tricks like that, a foot jam nose pick to fakie.
A fakie's a universal term. You'll hear it a lot. It means going into a trick backwards or landing it backwards.
Wow. Brett's putting it together here. That's the best line I've seen yet.
He's another one of those guys like Daniel Dares. He is a trick machine, and he definitely has improved his flow from what we saw out of the elimination round the other day.
A nice tuck no-hander. Coming out of Tombstone, building up some speed.
Let's see what he can finish with, because this run is very, very solid.
Oh, the flare whip sliding out.
That'll hurt because he still had time on the clock.
And as a competitor, that's frustrating to just nail a run and then mess up at the end.
And you hear the buzzer go, so that means that constitutes a fault.
Yeah, he kind of corked the front flip out. Kind of got a little sideways barrel rolling style.
Oh, Gary kind of slipping out a little bit there.
I really think Brett's run was maybe going to score the highest of any run yet had he not fallen at the end.
Well, I tell you what, he still got a 30 even with about 9 seconds left on the clock. Remember, it's your 2 best run scores total together, and that was unfortunate for Kyle Baldock because he's now got a 13. There's still plenty of time left to go through the rotation, though.
But you see Kyle's 13, he fell so early in the run. That's the reason why. It's not that you get penalized so heavily for falls, it's when you fall. It makes a huge difference.
Gary coming up a hair short. You see he kind of hung up there. With that right there, it loses your speed. Now it throws off your plan. You had a game plan coming in of different lines you have. Now you have to quickly adjust, which Gary is showing that he's very capable of doing.
Now we mentioned style and flow. He's one of those guys. He doesn't have some of the big tricks like Brett Matasewicz and Daniel Dares, but he attacks this course at high speed. You will see him whipping through these corners with unique transfer lines and gap jumps.
And plenty of endurance. I think this contest could run 3 times in a row and Gary would be down for it all.
Well, he's been knocking on the door the last 2 years in a row, walking away with a bronze medal. Got himself a silver all the way back in 2003.
Oh, Daniel Dares off the ski jump with a 360 tuck no-hander.
Big double whip. Daniel's looking like he's riding pretty clean to me right now. Like, I'm impressed. He's, dropping the front end, proper landings.
Landing smooth, keeping his flow going. Definitely looking a little more comfortable than he did in prelims.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he looks a lot more comfortable right now than we saw out of elimination, and he is your defending gold medalist. Got his 3rd one last year. He took the gold in 07, 08, and last year, and he's looking poised to get into that final here in round 1 of the final.
There it is again with a big cork 720 over the gap. That is very much Daniel's own style.
That might have been a better landing than what he had out of the first run. Now, his first run score was solid at 36, and that gets him a 38, so he's got the highest single run score of the team so far.
Anderson, he's been doing that trick for years. Roll on, 270 in, like alley-oop style. That's a lot crazier than it looks.
Wow. What a massive transfer. Look at the speed that he's maintaining through this course.
And a bar-to-bar back in the deep part. I'd like to see some of these guys air big more. It's tricky to get the line to hit that quarter with speed. Wow, huge flip.
That was a massive flip. When Dennis says bar-to-bar back, he spins his handlebars one direction, catches it, and then spins it back the other direction.
And what Dennis does, and few of the guys do, he links these big tricks like this flip over the volcano. A volcano is when there's a deck bigger than the spine, and he'll throw in a tech lip trick, and he'll find his way to get speed back. That's what we need to see more of from a lot of these guys.
That should be a big run score for Dennis, and he gets the highest score of the afternoon so far. That's a 40, so that puts him 1 point ahead of Daniel
Dares. Did you see that? Front flip tuck, no hand.
You guys, we got
Brett Matasewicz.
Oh, he gets hung up coming out of that pool bowl.
Let's check out this replay. Look at this. Tucks the bars in his lap, spreads his hands out. Very well executed.
It'll be interesting to see how Kyle responds after falling early in that pass run, because all of these guys have a legit shot of getting into that final round of 5 and getting up on the podium.
Well, now a sense of urgency starts to kick in with about 6.5 left on the clock. He may get 1 more rotation out of this, possibly 2, but Kyle's got to drop that 13.
Look at the speed that
You don't see that every day.
Front flip off the carport, no transition to take off from. Just pulling it from a flat surface. That is so impressive.
And you're landing completely to flat on this.
Oh, I had the pleasure of riding street in Kansas City, my hometown, with him recently, and he would just casually throw front flips out riding street. Oh, there's a ledge. I'll front flip off of it.
straight into the flip fakie. I love that I'm starting to see flip fakies again. You know, they got put away for a little while. We're starting to see them come back out again.
They're making a comeback. Retro. This will be a big score here for Kyle Baldock, and he gets a 32, so that's what he needed to do. Get rid of that low score of a 13. Here we go with Gary Young again.
Gary Young with a nice 360 up into the ski jump.
Kyle and Gary are tied right now. Gary would hold the tiebreaker over Kyle, and it's only the best of the third place scores from the two heats that come out. You want to be
the
1-2
downside grind around the corner. That's when the bottom two pegs catch a corner and he does it again.
He's had two big lip tricks going over that doorway gap.
And he's maintaining his speed. That's what is so impressive.
Look at that. Big one-handed flatty. Just transferring from bowl to bowl like he's riding a set of trails. Trust me, it's a lot gnarlier than a set of trails.
So another solid run there for Gary Young. That'll bring up Daniel Des. Remember, we're taking the two best scores out of each heat and the better third place score between the two, so that bumps him up big time. That gives him a 71.
Daniel going, it looked like he's going for the double peg grind. His front peg slipped off, dropped his front wheel. He'll have to call that run, get back up, and get in for another one.
As it stands, Daniel and Darius have a bit of a cushion. They're sitting pretty safe. Yeah, caught up on his peg there. And lucky for him, he didn't fall down with the bike.
Look at that. There's a new line we haven't seen out of Dennis Anderson.
Oh, Dennis with the bar spin to toboggan into the pool bowl.
Bar spin looked like he was going to do a tuck no-hander out of that, but he's sitting in the lead. I don't think he'll slip past the top.
See that
big
how hard that is to go around the pocket. That is such a challenging thing to do.
There he goes again with that foot jam nose pig coming in backwards.
I'm a huge fan of that trick.
Do you guys get the feeling that Dennis probably hasn't even glanced over to see what his score is yet? I love that about the guy. He's so good and he's so carefree. And if he keeps the two of those elements, this guy's going to be ripping it up for 20 or 30 years.
Well, he walked out of here last season with back-to-back silver medals in Park and Street. He'd like to trade it in for a shiny gold one.
What?
Well, you can get all your X Games schedule information by downloading the new mobile app, where you can log on to xgames.com/schedule. Stay in tune with your favorite events throughout the entire weekend here at X Games 17.
That was a bizarre front flip flat.
Oh, Kyle Baldock going for the backflip tail whip. This is his first X Games, and he has risen to the occasion.
Yeah, he's holding his own, but unfortunately, I mean, Gary Young, Daniel Dares, and Dennis Anderson have just put it together.
Yeah, it looks like Brent and Kyle may not be advancing out of this. It all depends on whether they can get another run in and just how much they can boost those scores.
Well, at 40 seconds per run with 3 minutes to go, it looks like we may go through the rotation one more time around, but Brent has some definite work to do.
With 33s being their top scores, they've got a lot of work to do to pop up into the top three here. These top three can still shuffle around.
These riders all have to be tired to pump at that speed, maintain that speed, time after time. The only one I would think would be comfortable with this is Gary Young.
And he's the one that just waved it off, and I think it's because he lost his line. It's not because he was out of breath. As a competitor, you know, if this run can't beat my other one, maybe I'm better off saving it for the next one.
Well, then you start using energy and everything and expending energy that you could use on your next run.
And risk. We're always expending risk. If you figure if you do this stuff 10 times, you might fall one or two of them. Why take that risk if you're trying to make it through to the final round?
Exactly. You don't want to expend everything you've got left before you get into that final.
That was awesome.
Huge alley-oop tail whip transfer out of the pool bowl. Oh, the nice tuck no-handed 360.
No-handed flare. Daniel's just stringing tricks together. He's in a good position right now.
I'm a big fan of that no-handed flare trick.
Speaking from the guy that came up with it first.
So Daniel loops out with about 10 seconds left on the clock, so that's not going to help him out. He's not in a bad spot. I mean, he's in 74. Looks like we're going to go through the rotation one more time around. He looks like he's a pretty safe lock to make it into that final.
And this guy's definitely a lock right now.
Well, he's right on pace from where we left off with him on Thursday.
Yeah, bar spin to tuck no-hander over the volcano. And a huge pocket table.
You have to be so on top of your game to ride a course like this, to have the reaction time so instantly. If something goes wrong, you have to be ready to improvise real quick.
Yes.
That's a new one.
For improvising.
Yeah, haven't seen that in a line.
I can't stress enough how impressed I am that he can link these high-speed moves, go giant, and do that.
And do that.
A tech risky lip trick to fakie. You know, you don't usually just want to